Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I'm Jason Gotti.
I'm Zach Munson.
And we are back today for more football coverage. So today we have an episode of the NFC West, as you can tell by the title. So we're going to go through every single team in the NFC West, talk about what they did last year, offensive and defensive thoughts, give a ceiling and a floor for their record this year, along with their record prediction, an MVP, the best storyline to watch out for, and a breakout and a bust this year. So let's start off with the Seahawks. Last year they finished 10-5-1. They lost to the Falcons in the playoffs. Russell Wilson really struggled behind a terrible offensive line, and Earl Thomas got hurt near the end of the season, really hurting their team for the playoffs. So let's move into this year's team, though. Offensive and defensive thoughts from Jason first. What do you have?
So offensively, you got Russell Wilson at the quarterback spot. Behind him, you got Trevon Boykin. But really, it's all Russell Wilson at the quarterback spot. No real competition or anything like that. Running back, it's an interesting group of guys there. You got Eddie Lacy, Thomas Rawls, Alex Collins, and C.J. Prosise. Right now, it looks like Lacy will be the 1, Rawls will be the 2, Collins will be the 3, Prosise will be the 4. So in that order, I think it's going to change. I have a feeling it'll end up being Rawls 1, Lacy 2, Prosise 3, Collins 4. But that's the 4 backs in the backfield. Receiver, you got Doug Baldwin. He's kind of the star. You got Paul Richardson and Jermaine Kearse battling for the 2 spot. And then the other one's obviously the 3. And then Tyler Lockett to finish out the receiving corps. On the defense, you got Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Michael Bennett, and Cliff Averill. Those 5 pretty much sum up the defense. Bennett and Averill provide the pass rush. Thomas, really the big man of the defense, kind of just directs it all. He went down 12 games into the season, and then you got Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman being that Legion of Boom. Zach, what do you think?
I'd also add in Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. Those are good linebackers. Yeah.
So for the Seahawks on the offensive side, obviously, like Jason said, Russell Wilson is back. He'll be great again this season for the Seahawks, but the offensive line's got to keep him upright this season. The Seahawks committed the least money to their offensive line last season, and I think they're pretty close to the top again this year. Russell Wilson's got to stay upright, and if he's not, then the Seahawks are done. Like Jason said, also, the running backs, really deep. I like all of those guys. Any of those, I think, could run the ball well, but the Seahawks offensive line, again, has got to open up holes for them. The defense going to be solid again, but they're all getting up in age. They're all going to start to decline sometime soon, so I think it's going to be kind of rough for them as in the next few years as their defense is going to get older. Let's move into a ceiling and floor for the Seahawks this year. What is your ceiling and floor, Zach?
My ceiling is 13-3, and my floor is 8-8. What about you, Jason?
I've got 11-5 as their ceiling, their floor 8-8, and I've been finishing right around 10-6.
I say anywhere from 12-4 to 9-7, but I'll say 11-5 for the Seahawks this year.
Yeah, I got 11-5 as well.
I'm not as high. I think they're going to get swept by the Cardinals. I think that's the difference in the NFC West. I think that's what puts the Cardinals in first place.
I see them splitting with the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks are a better team all around. The Cardinals have a few holes, and like the Seahawks defense, the Cardinals offense is getting old, but we'll talk about the Cardinals in a little bit.
Yeah. Who's your MVP for the Seahawks?
My MVP, I have Richard Sherman.
Nice.
Mine's going to be Russell Wilson. I think he'll have a nice year this year, a bounce back.
Yeah, I went with Earl Thomas. I think we saw it when he went down. The team really relied on his energy. I love Earl Thomas.
All right, breakout player this year. Jason, who do you have?
Mine's Paul Richardson. You look at his last 2 games in the playoffs, he had 7 receptions, 131 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think he'll be the solid number 2 that the Seahawks have been missing.
Yeah, I got C.J. Prosise. Although he is the 4th string right now, I think he's the most talented in my mind. I think he'll take over either the 1st or 2nd spot by the end of the season.
I'm going to say Tyler Lockett. I think he finally puts it all together this year and gets some more targets, some more catches. I'm not a huge fan of Jermaine Kearse, so I think Lockett
Paul Richardson's doing it. I think Lockett's a good slot guy, though. I agree. I think Kearse could slide out of the rotation, but I think Richardson's more made for the 2, and
I'm
Lockett's more
saying-
made for the slot.
I see that. I don't disagree. I'm saying that Lockett takes more of the targets, though.
Okay.
Let's move into our bust this year, though. Zach, who do you have?
My bust is Eddie Lacy. I've really never been a fan of Eddie Lacy. He's fat. He's overweight. He had a really, really good second year after his rookie season, and he was being drafted
He was
like
a
in
Pro
the
Bowler his
first.
rookie year.
Right.
Played really well his second year.
He
Yeah.
was being drafted like a top 3 pick in fantasy after his second year, and then he just disappointed. And he could have a good year, bust into the end zone a couple times, but I got him as my bust.
Mine's Nate McDowell. I know he already got hurt with his ATV accident. I don't know. I thought he'd be a good starter because Dylan mentioned how bad the defensive tackles are. I thought he'd be the guy that could finally shore that up.
Yeah, my bust is going to be Jermaine Kearse. Like I said, I think he slips a little bit this year. He's getting older, and besides the crazy catch in the Super Bowl before Russell Wilson threw the interception, he's really, I don't think, ever done a whole lot for the Seahawks. I see someone else taking over his role as the number 2 receiver. Let's move into our storyline to watch out for this year. Jason, what is your storyline?
Mine's is this the last ride, and if not the last, one of the last. Michael Bennett's 31, Jimmy Graham's 30, Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman are both 29, and Doug Baldwin's 28. A lot of their key guys are getting up there, and Russell Wilson is 27. So those ages have to be concerning. It's got to be either this year or next year that's the last one.
I have 2 storylines. My first one is, can the offensive line step up? It's been terrible in recent years. Luke Juggle's got to lead the offensive line. They also have who will lead the rushing attack. Eddie Lacy, it looks like he's the starter right now, but I don't really like him. I don't particularly like him or Rawls. I like Procise the best, so we'll see how that shakes out.
Mine is going to be, can Russell Wilson stay healthy and lead the Seahawks back to the Super Bowl? They've had super high expectations ever since their back-to-back Super Bowl years, and now they got to try to find a way to get back there.
All right, so before we go to the Cardinals, who does everyone think will be the running back week 1?
Lacy.
Lacy? But what about week 17?
I think it'll be either Rawls or Procise.
I think it'll be Rawls. That's what I think.
I don't know. I like the way Procise runs, but if he's 4th on the depth chart right now, that's a long way to go.
It's a big mountain to climb. I don't know.
I'll probably say Rawls.
Not Collins? Nobody's liking Alex Collins?
No.
Okay. All right. Who's up next?
All right, we got the Cardinals next. So last year they finished 7-8-1. Carson Palmer was bad after his 2015 MVP-like performance. He was right up there in the MVP voting, but in 2016 had 26 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. But on the bright side, David Johnson had an amazing year, but overall just a bad season and stepped back, a losing record for the Cardinals after high expectations. They really took a step back, and this year they got to figure out a way to fix it up. So let's go into our offense and defensive thoughts. Jason, what do you have?
David Johnson has the keys to the Cardinals' offense. Palmer and Fitz will make up for everything else, but it's really the David Johnson show. John Brown bulked up and looks ready to go, so I think the Cardinals' offense is going to bounce back. Defensively, the report is that Arians is making the veterans run wind sprints at an 8 a.m. practice 2 days ago, so he is definitely not happy about that season he talked about last year. He said they weren't working hard enough, and, quote, if you play like bleep, I'm going to treat you like bleep. So Bruce Arians getting on him. And he was kind of known as like the guy that's pretty chill and laid back, so it seems like maybe a change there in Arizona. Hassan Reddick is my favorite player out of this draft. He's a stud. I think he's going to be really one of the stars of this defense. In the secondary, the big question is who's going to line up alongside Patrick Peterson. Justin Bethel's a special teams stud, or Brandon Williams. It's really going to be one of those two, and it's just a matter of who plays better.
Yeah, on the offensive side, Carson Palmer is getting up there in age. He is old now. He took a big step back last year, and I think he has a similar season again. David Johnson is really good, but no one else is behind him.
They have Chris Johnson still? They got rid of Ellington.
Yeah, but
he's a receiver now.
Chris Johnson,
yeah.
I don't see Chris Johnson
he's
doing
old
too
too,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, he's really old. But speaking of old, Larry Fitzgerald is also old.
But he's consistent.
He's consistently but old.
Yeah. But John Brown and J.J. Nelson are both short, speedy guys.
That'll be good for them.
Neither of them, I think, can really carry an offense as a number 1 wide receiver, though.
They're the number 2s. 2 and 3. I think Nelson Slot Brown's the number 2 outside.
Yeah, but the problem is Larry's old, and
Fitz will do what he does.
Yeah, he'll do what he
He'll
does.
do what he
I
does.
don't know. I think he takes a step back. Not a huge step back, but not enough to be a good wide receiver 1. At tight ends, they also don't have a lot of pass catchers. Jermaine Gresham, who I'm not a fan of, and
They
Troy,
just re-signed him, too.
Troy
I thought for
Nicholas.
sure he'd be gone. I was like, oh, Gresham's
Yeah.
gone. And they re-signed like a 3-year deal. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the offensive line, I think, is going to be rough this year, too.
Led by Iapati.
Yeah. He's good, but really not a lot of other bright spots on their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So an old offense, I think, but I think they'll still be able to put a little bit together with David Johnson leading the way. On the defensive side, a lot of good pass rushers. Chandler Jones, Hassan Reddick, Jarvis Jones, Robert Nkemdiche, but they did lose Calais Campbell. They got a couple solid linebackers in Carlos Dansby and Deion Buchanan. In the secondary, a couple really good pieces or Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu. Not really a lot besides those guys, though.
Yeah, Buchanan's kind of like a hybrid rover type guy. He can drop back and play safety. I mean, he started his career as a safety.
Mhm.
I love Buchanan.
I did too. He's kind of like a rover type player, and yeah, like that's what I think you brought up a good point about Patrick Peterson. There's really no one there. Justin Bethel's so good on special teams, but can he be the number 2 corner?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's really the question.
Yeah, a few good guys, but not enough depth on this defensive side to really be a dominant defense. But I think these pass rushers, sorry, I can't talk, will do a lot.
And they picked up Buda Baker in the draft. He's
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
Matthew, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see if those young guys can start to fill in. Let's move into our ceiling and floor along with the record this year for the Cardinals. Zach, what do you have?
My ceiling is 11-5. My floor is 7-9. I think a lot of it depends on Carson Palmer if he can bounce back. Obviously, getting up there in age, but yeah, 11-5 and 7-9.
I'm high on the Cardinals. I have their ceiling 12-4, floor 9-7. I have them 11-5, and they win the division.
I have anywhere from 11-5 to 8-8, and I say a 10-6 record.
Yeah, so
for
10-6
the
as
Cardinals.
well.
All right, who's the MVP? I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
David
it's
Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay, making sure.
Yeah,
All right.
number 1 running back, could catch for the most yards on the team too this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, breakout player. Mine's John Brown.
Mine as well.
Yeah, he bulked up and is going to have a phenomenal year. I think he's finally getting out of that small and speed and hopefully going to be an actual receiver. J.J. Nelson's not there yet. I think Brown's hopefully going to be that, take that next step.
I'm going to say Hassan Reddick. I think he has a breakout rookie year. I like Hassan, what he's doing. I wish the Colts would have picked him if he was there as a Colts fan. But, yeah, I think he has a good rookie season.
All right, yeah, who's your bust?
I say Larry Fitzgerald. I think he's older. Carson Palmer's older too. And I think he takes a step back this year.
I could get with you on Palmer. I can't get around Fitz as a bust. I don't know.
I don't see that either. I have Carson Palmer as my
You
bust. I think he'll have a similar season last year. Not a good season.
Yeah, I went on the defensive end. Went Robert Nkemdiche. I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he's just going to be and never really make anything out of it. Why? So tell us again why you think it's Fitzgerald. I'm just curious.
Because I think Carson Palmer has another similar season.
Mm-hmm.
There's other guys that the Cardinals are going to want to throw the ball to
Like
more.
DJ and John Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he's older. I mean,
You think the targets are going to go down as well, so it's going to
the
be
targets along with age. I mean, Father Time is undefeated. So I think Larry Fitzgerald starts to decline this year.
What's crazy is you look at the Cardinals and Seahawks, and they're both getting so old. Then you look at the other two teams in the division, and they're so young, like with the Rams and the Niners.
Yeah, speaking of the Rams and Niners, let's move into the Rams now.
I think Larry Fitzgerald led the league in receptions last year.
Really?
Led
yeah,
the league in
he led the
receptions.
league in receptions.
T.Y. led him in
107.
yards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think he'll decline, but he won't bust. I think he'll be fine. I don't know. But yeah, going to the Rams.
Anyway, the Rams last year finished 4-12. Jared Goff struggled when he started to come in, but they have a lot more weapons now. They got Sean McVay, Connor Barwin in the offseason too. A lot of good guys in the draft. Gerald Everett, Cooper Kupp, and the losses, they lost center Tim Barnes, Kenny Britt, TJ McDonald. So a few additions, but also a few significant losses for the Rams this offseason. But let's move into their roster this year. Give some offensive and defensive thoughts. Jason, what do you have?
Offensively, I loved the free agent signing of Andrew Whitworth. I thought it was a perfect fit for the Rams. He's going to really hopefully solidify Jared Goff's blind side as he tries to take that next step as an NFL quarterback. Running back, they've got Zach's guy, Todd Gurley. I don't even know if I need to talk about it. I think Zach will talk about him enough, so I'm going to stay out of there. Receiver-wise, Tavon Austin, my boy Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods. I love the receiving core. They're young, so they're not going to be good now, but I think in a few years, watch out. Defensively, they got Robert Quinn, Aaron Donald, one of the best front line in the NFL. Secondary is rough. They really only have Tremaine Johnson back there. And, yeah, Zach, you want to talk about Todd Gurley for us?
Yep, Todd Gurley from running back. He burned me last year in fantasy. I got him in all 4 of my leagues, the number 1 pick. Obviously, he had a great rookie season. Terrible sophomore season. I had a sophomore slump. But I'm looking forward to him getting back to his old ways. I think of a bounce-back season. And then I like the linebackers that the Rams got. They got Alec Ogletree and Mark Barron. I think those are 2 solid linebackers to fill in as a linebacking corps.
Yeah, I like Goff on the offensive side. I'm not sure about this year, though. Todd Gurley, again, like Zach said, he'll be solid. The offensive line got a lot better with Andrew Whitworth. The problem is Goff's not going to have a lot of weapons to throw to. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, those guys got to start stepping up and being great in this offense. Tavon Austin, I don't even know what's happening with him. He's just not good. On the defensive side, they're really solid on the defensive side. They got Connor Barwin on the defensive line, Michael Brockers and Robert Quinn, a couple other good linebackers in Ogletree and Mark Barron, and in the secondary they got Tremaine Johnson and not a whole lot behind him, but still overall I think a really solid defense, a really good front 7. Let's move into our ceiling and floor along with a record prediction for the Rams next year. Zach, what do you have?
I hate the Rams this year. My ceiling is 5-11, but that'll be really hard to get. That's everything goes perfect. Floor, I was going to say 0-16, but I'll go with 1-15. And I had them going 4-12.
See, you hate them. I must hate them a little more than I have their ceiling at 3-13. Their floor at 1-15. I think they hit their ceiling of 3-13. I think Goff will be better. He just doesn't have a lot of help. I think Cooper Kupp will play well. I really just think it's a matter of they're too young and don't have enough there yet. I think they finished 3-13. But Dylan, we know you're a little bit higher on them.
Yeah, so much hate. Their defense is really good. I don't know why you guys...
Defense doesn't win regular season games, and they won't be in the playoffs to win championships.
Defense does win regular season games sometimes.
Sometimes.
I think they do just enough to get a 6-10 record this year. But that's their ceiling. I think they do it, though. Their floor, I think, for me, would be 3-13. They're not that bad of a team.
Yeah, so... Who is your MVP? Zach, is it Todd Gurley?
My MVP is Todd Gurley.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Mine's Jared Goff. I think he'll take another good step. I think everyone's hating on him way too quickly, just like sometimes you have guys get proclaimed too quickly. I think this is one of the cases. Just give him some patience. I think he'll be all right.
If Jared Goff is the MVP, I feel like they have to finish with a good record.
I don't think so. I mean, I think Goff will play. I think he'll play better than. I don't think he's going to be like Dak Prescott. I mean, I think he'll be the best offensive player. That's just how I look at it. I'm not a fan of.
He's the best
I'm not a
offensive
fan of Todd
player
Gurley.
with
Yeah.
that defense.
I mean, but I just don't like Tavon Austin. He's not good, and I like Cooper Kupp, but like I don't know.
How is
I
Goff
think they'll
gonna do
score.
good?
I don't like their defense that much. I don't like what they have besides Tremaine Johnson and then Aaron Donald and Robert Quinn. Besides those 3, there's no one else. Like I don't get behind 38-year-old Connor Barwin. He's not 38, but however old he is. And then Alec Ogletree, who's like getting old, and Mark Barron, who never was that successful. Like I can't get behind their defense, and so if their offense is going to be good, and their schedule is not easy either. I think they can I think they sweep the Niners, and then I think that they can beat the Colts week 1. Besides that, there's just nowhere else I see them winning.
I don't know. I think the Saints, the Texans,
No,
maybe the Eagles all 3 of
that's
those
a
games
joke.
are at home.
The Eagles and the Giants, or Eagles will beat them by 30+. The Saints
At home?
Yes, there's no one there. No one likes the Rams in LA. No one shows up.
That just does not have a
So
lot
home
to
doesn't
do.
matter. Home field advantage. You have to have crowd. You have to have a crowd there to have the advantage.
The Eagles are still going all the way across the country.
I think they know how to do it. They've done it before.
All right.
It's going to be a battle of Wentz versus Goff. You're telling me you're not going to take Carson Wentz over Jared Goff?
I'm saying they have a chance. I'm not picking the Rams in that game. I'm just saying
I don't see them having
disrespect
a
to
chance.
say 30 plus.
Yeah, I don't know about 30 plus.
I could see it easily being a 35-3 game.
Mm-mm.
Their offense is okay, and their defense is not good.
Not good. Oh my goodness.
The defense is good.
If they're not, who do they have besides Robert Quinn, Aaron Donald, and Tremaine Johnson? That's actually
Well, you
not
don't like
super
their
old.
defense, so
Yeah.
different opinion.
Yeah, Dylan, what do you have, Matt? 8-8,
I said 6-10.
6. Tell me the 6 wins. There's no way.
The Colts week 1. Although I'm high on the Colts, that is definitely a Colts game to lose. At LA week 1. Andrew Luck might not be
Yeah,
playing.
I have the Colts in both Niner games.
I think Washington week 2 is a possibility.
No.
At
No,
home.
No.
Washington is terrible. They are terrible.
I like Kirk.
No.
No, they are bad.
You're right. Kirk Cousins horrible. I heard that guy named Robert Kelly's terrible. I heard that guy named
He's
Terrell
not
Pryor's
good.
horrible.
Robert Kelly actually
Terrell
isn't
Pryor's
good.
not good, right?
Robert Kelly isn't good.
Yeah. Terrell Pryor, Josh Doxson, Jordan Reed, Ryan Kerrigan on defense, Josh Norman on defense. Josh Norman might have 3 picks.
Yeah.
Ryan Kerrigan might have 5 sacks. Like,
Washington is not good. But anyway, San Francisco week 3
Yeah.
as a win.
I give you that.
It's gonna go 3-0.
Yeah, you think they're going to win 3-0?
They could.
That'd be top of division.
That'd be
At-
funny.
Jacksonville is a possibility.
At Jacksonville, go all the way across the country.
How are they fans gonna travel?
I'm not. The Jaguars are going to be good.
No, they're not.
Better than the Rams.
Week 10 versus Houston. Week 10 versus Houston at home. That's a possibility.
Listen, that's not a far drive for either team. It's like
That's
3 hours.
not. That's not my point. It's at home, and it's Houston's not good.
they're not bad. JJ Watt will eat up the offensive line. for breakfast.
One
If
player
it's
does not win a game.
You're right. Jadeveon Clowney and Brian Cushing and who else is on that defense? It's like phenomenal. I forget
Yeah,
who's on that
that's pretty
defense, but all those guys. Oh yeah, and Lamar Miller and DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller. There's no way they can hang with the Rams. There's no way.
Yes. The
You're
Rams-
telling me that Deshaun Watson, Lamar Miller, and DeAndre Hopkins will lose to Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, and Tavon Austin.
It is not a 3-on-3 game, but
Okay, either way you look at it, tell me where they're gonna win. How are they gonna be the
okay. Other things happen. It's not like the better team wins every time. This is not a 7-game series of basketball. This is one football game at the Rams. It is definitely a possibility.
I don't think you can convince either of us that the Texans will lose to the Rams.
I'm not saying they will. I'm
You
saying
said
it's
I
a
asked for the 6
possibility.
wins are. I'm asking for the 6 wins.
I'm not making a concrete 6 wins. I'm giving you like 8 possibilities, and I'm saying they win 6 of them.
I want to hear the 6 wins that you had.
I am giving you 8 possibilities, and I think they win 6 of these. Colts, Redskins, 49ers, Jaguars, Texans,
Okay.
Vikings, Saints, and 49ers.
But win 6!
I'm saying they win 6 of those. Do I have to give a concrete 6?
I mean, yeah, it's your record. Like, I can give you my 3, both Niners and the Colts.
Okay, Colts, Redskins, 49ers,
Yeah.
Texans,
so you have 3
Saints,
now.
and 49ers.
Did you hear that? It's Indianapolis, Washington, San Fran. They're starting off 3-0. Then what?
Then Houston, New Orleans, and 49ers.
Houston, New Orleans, and 49ers. New Orleans.
They're not that good. Their defense is the worst thing to ever happen to football.
No. Have you seen Drew Brees play football in a while?
Yes, and he's
He will throw
declining. He is
38
He
will throw for 400 yards against the Rams.
I'm not saying you won't. I'm saying that the Rams will win.
All right, let's keep going. There's no way in heck the Rams win more than 4 games.
All right, whatever you say. Let's move on to the 49ers, though. Last year, they were very bad, 2-14. But they did get a new GM in John Lynch, a new head coach in Kyle Shanahan, Matt Barkley at quarterback, Pierre Garçon, Marquise Goodwin, Tim Hightower, Brian Hoyer, and a whole lot of other guys, especially in the draft, with Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, Joe Williams, Akello Witherspoon, and C.J. Beathard. The 49ers remade their roster this offseason and are starting to get young and have some talent now on the roster. So let's move into our offensive and defensive thoughts. What do you think, Jason?
Offensively, their whole team looks like they just got these guys out of an expansion draft. Like, there's no star. I guess Carlos Hyde, but besides that, so they're trying to be the Bears at the quarterback spot of Brian Hoyer and Matt Barkley. Running back, Carlos Hyde's fine, but then Joe Williams and Tim Hightower. Receiver, they got Pierre Garçon, and just, who else is there? I mean, I know you just mentioned it, but who else is there? Marquise Goodwin, right? And then
not a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, just like thinking about it, there's not much. Oh, Burbridge is there from Michigan State, but he's not actually like that good.
Bruce Ellington.
Yeah, so really
Jeremy Curley.
Yeah, so not much. Defensively, I like Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, Navarro Bowman, and Elvis Dumerville. But the problem is Foster and Bowman and Dumerville all play the same position, so it might be a little crowded at the linebacker spot. They just need to find some secondary pieces, though.
Yeah, on the offensive side, like Jason said, the two Bears quarterbacks. At running back, they got some depth with Carlos Hyde, Tim Hightower, and Joe Williams. Garcon and nothing else at wide receiver. Bad offensive line. Joe Staley and basically nothing. 3 high picks on the defensive line in Solomon Thomas, Eric Armstead, and DeForest Buckner. Those guys got to start gelling together and forming a nice pass rush. Dumerville, Bowman, Malcolm Smith, and Reuben Foster at linebackers. Those guys all have some talent. They got to gel together too. Cornerbacks are very bad. And a couple of decent safeties in Eric Reed and Jimmy Ward. All right. I think that's all for offense and defense.
Yeah. So my ceiling for them is 2-14. My floor is 0-16. I have them going 1-15.
I say anywhere from 3-13 to 0-16, and they finished 2-14 this year.
My MVP is Carlos Hyde. I feel like it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and nothing really.
Yeah, and then who's your breakout? Mine's Reuben Foster. He had 5 straight days in training camp with a pick. I think Reuben Foster could be a star.
I'm going to say Joe Williams at the running back position. I think he could steal some carries away from Carlos Hyde. They drafted him in the 4th round for a reason. I think he has a nice season for the 49ers.
Yeah. Okay, my bust, I really did not know where to go because there are just so many potentials. Like, there's just no one that's solid. I'm going to go with the quarterback. Whoever it is, do you know who it's going to be? I haven't heard if it's Hoyer or Barkley. I would guess Hoyer, but
yeah,
either way, I'm going to go with that's the bust. I just don't think they'll be able to do anything effective.
I'm going to say Pierre Garçon. I think neither quarterback is good. Neither are going to be able to get the ball to him enough. And he has some high expectations after a nice season in Washington and being the number 1 wide receiver now.
What's your storyline?
My storyline is will the defense be able to gel together this year and start to form a nice core? They have some pieces too, and they could potentially by the end of the season, if they all gel together, have a pretty decent defense in San Francisco.
Yeah, mine is, could GM John Lynch stop his own offense? No, he was phenomenal in Denver, but their offense is horrible. They've just got to find some pieces, and just watching that offense in general is going to be hard too, but you've got to look for some bright spots.
All right, I think that's all we got for our NFC West preview.
Yeah, so coming up, we're going to finish up the NFC and then do the last AFC division, the AFC West, with my Raiders in it. You don't want to miss it. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, if you want to see all of our NFL content coming up, we have plenty of fantasy stuff too. And also make sure to check out on our channel all of our college football stuff. A lot of interesting stuff there. Also follow us on Twitter. The link is in the description. Vote in our daily polls and get notified every day when we post a new video. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.